No mai hoki mai iho mā. Welcome again, friends, to this Gospel Reflection on Wednesday. Today it comes from Luke chapter 14. First, I was talking to my daughter yesterday. She's a student on an outdoor adventure training course, learning how to take people alpine climbing, kayaking and that sort of thing. And at the moment, they're on a 2-week expedition rock climbing in the South Island of New Zealand. Yesterday, she did her very first multi-pitch rock climb with traditional gear, chocks and bits and pieces that rock climbers use, and she had to make some decisions before she attempted the climb as to what gear she would take with her, what she might need on that ascent of that face. And as she ascended the face, she also had to make wise decisions as to which gear she placed in different holds or cracks in the rock, and then she had to trust that gear as well, which she actually found quite scary. So it was a real adventure for her, and she will learn a lot as she continues to extend herself in that way. That's kind of a bit similar to our gospel that we have today, which I'm going to read for a change. It's Luke chapter 14, starting at verse 25. And let's listen to Jesus, or to Luke. A large crowd was gathering around him. Jesus turned to face them. If any of you come to me, he said to them, and don't hate your father and your mother, your wife and your children, your brothers and your sisters, yes, even your own life, you can't be my disciple. If you don't pick up your cross and come after me, you can't be my disciple. Don't you see? Supposing one of you wants to build a tower, what will you do? You will first of all sit down and work out how much it will cost to see whether you have enough to finish it. Otherwise, when you've laid the foundation and then can't finish it, everyone who sees it will begin to make fun of you. Here's a fellow, they'll say, who began to build but couldn't finish. Or think of a king on the way to fight a war against another king. What will he do? He will first sit down and discuss with his advisors whether with 10,000 troops he is going to be a match for the other side who are coming at him with 20,000. If they decide he isn't, he will send a delegation while the other one is still a long way away and sue for peace. In the same way, none of you can be my disciple unless you give up all your possessions. This is the gospel of Christ. That's a very challenging story from Jesus. Now we can hear that as a demand. You must give up all these things if you want to follow me. Or we could hear it as an invitation to go on an adventure where we can only take a few things with us because travelling light is really important. My daughter couldn't climb that rock face yesterday with a house and with every possible thing on her back, the kitchen sink and everything. She had to choose what few things she needed to take on that journey up that rock face. And it's the same with Jesus. He's not demanding that we give up all these things. He's saying, if you want to come with me, choose wisely so you can get to the end of the road. There are some things that you will find really unhelpful in your journey and your adventure with me. Possessions, grudges, unforgiveness, all sorts of things can slow us down and hold us back from the full adventure and full life, the full experience of our humanity infused with the reality of the divine Jesus in our midst is all watered down and by holding on to possessions and other things which hold us back. So friends, as we continue together on this road with Jesus, I know that joining God Squad is a really difficult thing to do. We have to make choices about where we're going to spend our time, who we're going to hang around with, even what motorbike we choose to ride. And all those choices either help us go further on the road together, or they hold us back from experiencing the fullness of what that journey is about. So when we hear these harsh words about leaving behind our family, our wives, our spouses, it's not about being anti-family. It's a metaphor. It's an image to encourage us to consider deeply what is actually really important to make the kingdom of God become real in our community around us. There might be some aspects of our family that are not good, that we should leave behind. May we, like that king, when faced with a difficult scenario, whether he was going to fight those 20,000 people or not, assess what's going on in our lives. find out what things we can jettison and get rid of, so that we can travel lightly and make it to the end of the road on this adventure with Jesus. Be strong, friends, and courageous. These are hard choices that we have to make, but they're an invitation to an adventure, not a demand to a prison sentence that restricts us. So may we be free enough to make those choices, whatever's facing us today, which bring us closer to that kingdom that Jesus is wanting to let loose in our world, where people are free to share food, love, belonging, community, to find wholeness and health. Stick with it, friends, and may God give you strength. Rangamārie kia koutou.